Joycons. But these are not your average run-of-the-mill Joy-Cons, the ones that are notoriously small, drift after a couple of months, and that Nintendo will happily charge you a whopping $80 for. These are Joy-Cons with anti-drift technology, called Hall Effect sticks. These are Joy-Cons with remappable macro and turbo functionality, LED light rings, and somehow they're cheaper at $60. So when I received an email from QRD Game offering to send one over for review, I had to say yes, I want to know what this controller is about, because to pack this many features in a more affordable package, corners must have been cut somewhere. So did QRD Game know where to cut? Let's find out by cutting this thing open. I was gonna pick up the operating instructions, but they're behind a piece of plastic. Let's get it out of the main box. We get ourselves a little D-pad replacement, a USB-C cable to charge the thing, and here it is, the controller itself. Oh wow. Yeah, I can tell. This fits in your hand much better. You know, I love these. They come protected. The analog sticks come protected. Ingenious idea. I saw in their promotional material, they claim these buttons are kind of clicky, kind of like mechanical buttons, so... Oh yeah, I have never seen controllers like these before. Comes with your standard Xbox style D-pad, but I don't want that. Let's get real. Just get real. I'm sorry if you were one of the few that prefers that, but nah. There we go. These are Joy-Cons. You can. The Joy-Con grip is actually just a rectangle slab because the comfortable part is actually in the Joy-Con itself. The grip, it's actually here. So this is not a Joy-Con grip, it's more like a Joy-Con slab. We got a little support, the operating instructions. Let me see, do I know how to operate this thing? Oh, they're huge. Oh my god, they're massive. I have never used a controller before. How do I click buttons? These sticks, they don't have much travel. The construction and the look is really great. Can't wait to see how these look turned on. So, I'll see you in a week when I've had enough time to play with this and see if it lived up to the hype. So I've been using this controller for a week as my main Nintendo Switch controller. Everything from handheld play to docked mode, and now I'm confident in saying, yeah, it's a really nice controller. First thing I noticed when I started playing was the texture on the analog sticks. I'm very particular with the texturing on these because I feel like some companies overdo it. Like when I'm using a brand new Xbox controller, it takes me months of using it before my thumbs stop hurting from the overly harsh textures. But then, with other controllers like the Joy-Cons, the texture is nearly inexistent, and the sticks are so small that my fingers slip off when trying to do more demanding inputs. But here, with the T5, I think they got the balance just right. You can see here that the grippy texture is there, however, it was never too harsh and I never felt that initial pain that I got used to with those guys over there. The next thing I quickly noticed while playing was the clicky D-pad, and wow, I kinda love this. Now, with D-pads, whether you love it or not will be mostly a preference thing. I joked earlier about this little guy, but I know there's a large amount of people that genuinely prefer it, and it is great that the option is included in the box and pretty easy to swap. But, as for me, I loved the classic D-pad. Playing Mario Maker felt great using these. It's a game where precise inputs really matter, and having that clicky feedback on the buttons when I'm playing was a nice positive that I wasn't expecting would make that big of a difference, but it did. And the ergonomics while in handheld mode? I mean, you can tell just from looking at it connected to the Switch right now, they are crazy. You're sacrificing a bit of portability. This thing is massive after all, but it is more than a worthwhile trade-off, and I cannot recommend this enough. From someone who's used to playing on their Switch with the official Joy-Cons, the console never felt like that definitive handheld experience I was looking for. It's 100 times better than playing on your phone, yeah, but not quite good enough to truly make me immersed in the games I'm playing. Always readjusting my grip, having the Joy-Cons dig into my hand, applying extra pressure to hold the thing since they have no grip in the back, it was never quite there. But now, oh, it's there alright. It feels like I'm holding my Pro controller. Even though the controllers are big, they are on the lighter side, and I feel like that's actually a positive in this case. The Switch is much bigger with these on, and yet it feels just as heavy as it ever did. Which is to say, not much. It's comfortable to play for hours at a time. I personally tested this out by playing some runs in Enter the Gungeon, my favorite roguelike game. A single run here can last over an hour, but at no moment were my hands getting tired. It really does make the handheld playing experience better. They even got this rubber surface on the back of this thing. It feels designed for comfort in handheld mode, and it is at its best when connected like so. And as a plus, if you like RGB aesthetics, these do look great. The semi-transparent look mixed in with the RGB lighting gives it this unique look that sets it apart from other controllers. I personally enjoyed it a lot. My favorite color was the purple. But before we move on to talking about the docked experience, time to answer the question I posed at the start of this video. These are cheaper than normal Joy-Cons and are packed with features and a quality build. Where were the corners cut? And were they smart with the cuts they made? I'm going to say yes, they were smart. This controller lacks NFC support, so no amiibo reading with these. A niche feature that I think 99% of users won't really miss. It does also not support HD Rumble, settling for your basic normal rumble instead. I don't miss HD Rumble here, not at all actually, considering I already play with the rumble disabled on my other controllers. It wasn't a big deal at all for me. If anything, I got a cool button that lets me adjust the intensity of the rumble on the go if I'm ever feeling like having it on for some reason. The last corner cut is perhaps the most insignificant of all. No IR camera. I know, I'm so sorry to all the 712 Switch fans out there. You cannot eat fictional sandwiches with this controller. What? No! Those were the most important features missing. Overall, I'd say they did a good job on picking what to exclude, because what they include for the price instead makes these so worth it. The Hall Effect joysticks alone are such an improvement over whatever these are that I'm happy to recommend this to most Nintendo Switch users. Unless you like 1-2 Switch. But in fairness, you do like 1-2 Switch, so I am so sorry for you. Now it is time to get these in the grip and talk about how this controller performs as your typical home-use Switch controller. And it does perform well here as well. As per usual with these, they're at least 10 times better than playing with the original Joy-Con grip, feeling much closer to a Pro controller instead. A side-by-side comparison shows that, while in the grip, the T5 can be even larger than your standard Nintendo Switch Pro controller. It also includes 2 remappable back buttons that are becoming common in Pro controllers released today, but are lacking in the original Nintendo release. I do like the inclusion of these. I have them remapped as shoulder buttons, as in games such as Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Holding items behind me by just tightening the grip on my controller feels natural and is a more comfortable way to play for me. Or in Splatoon 3, pulling off some optimal movement tech is also made easier by utilizing this setup. But if I were ever to want a different button map, it's as simple as pressing the M button on the back, clicking the button you'd like mapped, and you're done. You can also set entire button combinations as macros back here. And while I didn't use that feature myself, I can imagine it being useful for a lot of people, particularly fighting game players. Another useful feature I didn't make much use of is the turbo buttons. We've all seen them, they've been a thing for ages. They basically just spam a button for you so you don't have to mash. Another nice addition contributing to a complete package. I'm sure some people will find good use for it, and I appreciate its inclusion. The only real criticism I have comes in the form of a weird quirk of the gyro functionality. I play a lot of Splatoon, so having good motion controls is a must for me. And thankfully, these do have good motion controls. I didn't notice any difference from my original Joy-Cons, except for this one little quirk. When pressing any of the A, B, X, Y buttons, the gyro aim will slightly move at random while playing, basically unnoticeable. Didn't affect my experience negatively or anything, but it was a little weird quirk, and I thought I'd mention it. It doesn't happen while the T5 is connected to the Switch, so my guess is some Bluetooth interference? I'm really not sure. As far as docked playing goes, if you're looking for a controller strictly to use while in docked mode, you may be better off going with a classic Pro controller. However, the versatility these bring to the table cannot be understated. You get a very comparable and sometimes even better experience in docked mode given the exclusive features on this controller, and they're Joy-Cons, meaning that for games like the newly released Mario Party Jamboree, where to play the motion minigames you require a single Joy-Con on its side, these will work, whereas a normal Pro controller just wouldn't. And you get the benefit of multiplayer. Yeah, using them on their side is not the most comfortable way to play, but it is much better than the official Joy-Cons, and a Pro controller straight up doesn't let you do that. So you're getting all of the versatility of Joy-Cons, with Pro Controller-like ergonomics. After this week, I can safely say that the Stellar T5 will remain connected to my Nintendo Switch and has now become my main way of experiencing portable play, while also serving as a great option to use at home, especially in games like Mario Party. Seriously, I feel like I'm cheating using this controller knowing my enemies are stuck trying to play with this measly thing. So thanks again to QRD Game for sending this over to review, and thank you for watching to the end. I hope the information presented here serves you well, and I would appreciate a subscription to the channel. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye!